Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Are you nervous? What are you feeling?
It was the first time I was conscious of what I was wearing in around
I
a week.
know, I thought that when you came, I was like, oh, look.
And I went into work this morning. Where do I look?
No, you look at me.
I look at you. So I went into work
He's like Colin. Colin's the same.
I went into work this morning and I deliberately wore slightly better clothes because I said, right, I'm going to do my podcast with my daughter, so I'm going to wear better clothes.
Did you tell anyone?
No, but it also meant that I could sneak out 5 minutes early because when you're wearing a PE teacher wearing proper clothes, it means there's something going on somewhere.
And someone might have died, and they would.
Someone might have died. Yes. So.
And how was it? Did you go home?
No.
No.
Didn't go home. No.
How was the meeting?
The meeting was grand. I'd already flagged it up that I was going early, and leaving the meeting early also makes you look important.
Yeah.
Because the other people don't have lives, and you have a life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm a bit nervous now.
Am I meant to be entertaining people who are listening to this?
No.
I'm still going to.
Rob edits as well.
Rob, this is the one you're not editing, by the way.
I'd love to get it to a point where I don't have to edit it, but I don't know until.
Yeah.
Because I think it depends. It depends on the people you have on as well. Like, there's definitely certain people who would want it to be edited.
I like the
unedited.
I like the don't edit at all.
But there's a lot of pressure. Like, that's why Joe Rogan, I think, I don't know if you can do that starting out.
I feel I'm so cynical now when I'm watching television that if I feel there's anything edited at all. So like the Graham Norton show.
Yeah.
I'm going, oh gosh.
Really? You just like the raw stuff the most?
Yeah.
Can you listen to a full Joe Rogan, the full 3 hours?
I think I could, yeah, comfortably. Yeah.
But do you? Like,
I don't because I'm not driving that distance, but yes.
But when you're listening again, will you click back in at 45 minutes and listen to the next 45 minutes?
Yeah. I'd say 7 or 8 times out of 10 when I'm listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, I go back. If I'm even lukewarm about the material, I go back to it because I find it so enlightening. So the present one, the one I'm listening to at the moment, is just a fellow who trying to save the Amazon jungle. And I just find it so informative in a relaxed way.
Yeah.
So.
And do you remember it all?
No.
Do you remember any of it?
Any of what?
Any of the information you receive in your brain? Because we're both the same. Like, I think I'm good at learning and so bad at remembering. And so then the learning becomes moot because I can't actually give any points because I don't remember any of the information to back it up.
So I think that's a fault with everyone else apart from us. So I think when you learn loads of stuff and you forget a lot of it, you still don't. Yes, you still know it and you don't forget how it makes you feel about things. So if you learn,
it changes your. Oh, interesting. So it changes your opinion, and you always know your opinion.
Yes.
But then when you're in an argument with someone who has a lot of knowledge, and they know dates and names.
Yeah.
What do you do?
That's the problem. I find I'm not eloquent enough for an argument. Yeah, I'm not eloquent enough.
But I feel like I'm the person who should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
because everyone thinks they know best. So even like the Amazon jungle now with Joe Rogan, I'm learning. I'm saying, well, this is really important. And I didn't realise, number one, it's so vast, which is pretty obvious. But number two, it's so important. And number three, how passionate people are about it. But I do remember there was lots of facts given out during that, but I cannot regurgitate them.
Even one of them? No.
Well, I could now. If I was pushed, I could.
See, the same. That's why I loved when I did my law module in college, because I remembered the stories. So I remembered the cases. I remember who like won.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember the dates or the names or any of that stuff ever.
Yeah. But I think I'm quite comfortable with that. And I don't know how I did relatively well on my leaving cert. Am I allowed to call out the results?
Go ahead.
So I did well.
Yeah, I actually don't know if I know your results.
I'll do that.
I don't know if I do.
So I got an A in honours history. I got a B in honours economics and a B in honours maths. And I got
and
a
what's
C.
my birthday?
10th of December 93.
Nice.
That was good. And one thing I learned before I came here.
You did your homework. Go on, A in honours history, B in honours maths.
B in honours economics, and then a C in phys chem combined English, Irish and French, which basically meant I wasn't good at languages because I studied hard for them as well.
Yeah, I'm not good at languages either. But you don't remember facts and stuff. How was history so good?
I don't know. I did then. So I don't know what slipped between now and then because I did remember facts then.
Oh, God, that's terrifying.
No, it's not. No.
But I never have. So maybe...
You've never...
Just the genes.
Yeah. No, but for your own leaving cert, would you not remember?
Now, again, I would remember roughly what happened, but then I'd be like, oh, it was that, like, if it was a place in England, I'd be like, oh, it was one of the Shears. But, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't remember.
And I'm also suspicious of facts, because one person's fact is just another person's.
I know.
So.
I know.
But I'm not suspicious of.
What facts are you not suspicious of, though? Like, if I say that's a bottle of water, you're not going to dispute that.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. So I'm suspicious of a lot of what
the media reports.
Yeah, definitely what the media reports. I'm suspicious of a lot of what we all say to each other, because you cannot say how you can pretend I changed my mind, or I changed my mind. You can say that I was wrong about this once, but if you think of how wrong you were about something and how potentially damaging that was as part of a greater movement. So let's say you were wrong about capital punishment and you're all for it. Or let's say you thought capital punishment was okay. So then worldwide people are killing people and you're part, even mentally, of that movement. Then and now you're against capital punishment. That's quite a jump. So you're for killing people. Now you're against killing people, but you can't phrase it like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so that was one of my worries as well of doing something like this, is because if you, like, say Joe Rogan again, he's a prime example, if he has an opinion, and he often changes his mind, like he often will change his opinion, but then anyone can clip what he said previously, which was of his old opinion.
Yeah.
And then like that, it can become a fact or whatever in the media.
Yes, it can become a fact that such and such a person said this. And I would actually think Joe Rogan is guilty of that himself at times as well. But I think he's almost openly guilty. He's not cynically guilty of it. So he would say, I don't know, we didn't mean to talk about Joe Rogan, but because we both listened to him a bit, to me he would say things that I would totally disagree with. Then he would say facts. Then he'd get the lad in the background, like our Rob here, to go and check them.
Our Rob.
Right?
Jamie's in Jamie's.
Oh, right. I thought I got Rob's name wrong already, right? So if we get Rob to check something, or Jamie checks something, and Joe Rogan would be wrong, and he'd be wrong quite often in the 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I find that a little bit refreshing.
Because you're seeing in real time.
Yeah.
You're hearing in real time all of the aspects. Would you watch it, or are you happy to listen?
Happy to listen. No interest in watching it.
Do you? Not interested? No. I wonder if our generation, because I would not love listening. Now when I start driving, I think it'll be different.
Okay.
Because I think if you're in the car too much, music just doesn't do it for you, doesn't it now?
But
if I'm sitting here, like, I'll watch a podcast.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'll watch an interview.
And would you actually watch it, or would it be background while you cook?
No, I watch. Yeah, no, I try not to.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I try not to scroll or anything. Now, my version of watching is pausing every 5 or 10 minutes.
And let it sink in, or doing something else?
Doing something else.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's good that I figured it out, that I can go and come back and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
But my attention span can't stretch longer than maybe 25, 30 minutes at a go. Even movies now.
But you can flip that to something else and say, you can flip that. You see, I think the narrative now is almost that if you're not similar to someone else, we're all saying accept people as they are all the time, but we don't. We don't even accept ourselves as we are. And so if you can only watch something for 20 minutes, you can flip that and say, well, I'm so busy and I have so much going on that I'll watch it better if I do something else, rather than saying I can only watch it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, 100%, not limiting yourself.
Yeah.
Do you find with students that come into school now in first year, are their attention spans different than 6 years?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the attention span is dropping.
Do you think it's a real thing?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's an awful lot going on with young people now that we don't even talk about. Like
what?
Like their health is poor, their sleep patterns are poor, their phone use is poor. In terms of them being honest, their sociability is poor, their language is poor, their physical literacy skills, just in simple little things, are poor.
What do you think is the cause?
My generation and your generation have caused it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you think we can blame our ancestors for everything?
No. We've just, there's not enough teasing out discussion of what's like to give. The obvious one is smartphones. So to give 12-year-olds smartphones is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. But
to give them access to that much information?
No, just to distract them from fresh air and from falling off trees and from knocking and
being outside more.
Getting in trouble with your neighbours and, the life experiences that aren't with.
Yeah, but a lot of people would argue that the current generation's mental health is getting a little bit better, that they're more aware, or do you think it's getting worse?
No, I think the stats would be getting worse, I think.
Really?
Yeah, but having said that, I don't know if I can go by the stats because.
Yeah, we're very skeptical of everything, aren't we? So anybody who has any stats or figures, we're like, who did that test?
Yeah.
Whose side are they on?
Yeah. Like
who paid for that test to happen?
Absolutely.
But this is the thing now, we're being bombarded with the amount of information, with debunking.
Yeah.
The constantly proving and debunking.
Yeah.
Like it's like a yo-yo. Like I don't know what's good for me and what's bad for me anymore. Like,
but I think you do really. But
how do you think you do? Like I think I trust my gut. Like it's in my instinct.
I think you hear 1,000 bits of information. So you hear apples are good and bars of chocolate are bad, right? But then that nothing beats, a cup of tea and a sneaky bar of chocolate. So that's good. So that's good.
Yeah, if it's
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's good. So then you weigh that up and apples, and then you hear about the pesticides that are put onto apples. And you say, okay, they're not as good. And then you hear someone saying, they're growing over there in that country and they're gorgeous from that country. And you're weighing these things up all the time. And then you come to your own natural conclusion.
And I saw this thing that you metabolize things differently depending on your mood. So like you said, like if you're enjoying a bar of chocolate and a cup of tea more, like the emotion of you enjoying it actually affects how it's metabolized and digested. Yeah, you can look that up.
Will you look up first of all what is metabolism? Because I should know that, and I think I have a really good metabolism. Oh
yeah, we do for sure. You gave it to all of us.
So I've eaten.
First, what is metabolism? What is a simple definition? Go into that one. All the physical and chemical processes in the body that convert or use energy. Yeah, so how you digest it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And also, how you digest it, I suppose.
I heard a thing.
But exercise makes your metabolism better. I'm nearly sure of that because my metabolism after having Ava was really poor. And then the more I exercised, the better it got.
And I would think then, so you have that conclusion in your head. So
I don't know if I've ever concluded on anything.
No, but I think if you saw the exact opposite in a stat, that you should fight with that stat. Because every bit of evidence that you have is saying, no, this makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I think, I think
look up that experiment. Look up the experiment on emotions while digesting food. Your spelling is going to be now really scrutinized, Rob.
Oh, here he's pretty quick now.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Emotionally behavior now.
Does food? No.
But I know what you mean. While he's looking for that, I can multitask.
No, that's not it then. It's hard when you see something in a TikTok or in small Instagram reel then to find the actual proper evidence of it.
Yeah. We had a talk yesterday. So there's a company called Novo Nordisk, and they're from one of the healthy Scandinavian countries that we mix up with each other.
In school?
Yes.
The
principal, myself, and a girl from Novo Nordisk.
Oh, cool.
And they're looking to sponsor some big health thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And they want to use Ballymun.
And they want to use our school. Right? And she'd like to work, what we concluded was she'd like to work with a full year group.
Yeah.
And the principal wanted to go food, right? And all of this. And because I'm a PE teacher, I was thinking exercise. Because the Novo Nordisk girl has experience in other countries, she was thinking they, give out bikes and stuff like that and do a food thing, right? So we don't know where it's going to go. We're going to talk to the children.
Is there a certain budget?
She'd like to look for 20,000 off her company.
Okay, and then the 20,000, is she the ultimate decider?
I guess, yes, but I guess her company would give her certain stipulations. And I think they're a chemical company, pharmaceutical company, of which I'd be very suspicious of.
Yeah.
But we still have to pay, and that's the problem nowadays. You have to piggyback on who gives you the money. That's a real problem.
But what do you mean by piggyback?
Like if they're offering you the money, then you go with them.
Go with them in what way?
That's the question. How far do you go with them?
Like, as in you mean even advertising or acting like they're a good company goes against your moral compass a little bit?
A little bit, yes, because, every bit of affirmation, and I'm not talking about Novo Nordisk specifically because I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Right?
But even Pfizer.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Pfizer would be an obvious example how quickly we accepted the COVID vaccines despite their reputation with court cases.
And then also...
And everything, by the way, goes back to, we eventually mentioned COVID or Donald Trump at least 10 times.
I was going to try and protect you. because he is a pro-Trump anti-vaxxer.
There has to be a phrase for that.
I love throwing the label on you though, because
there has to be a phrase.
Because it's so funny to me as well, do you know? But I think because there's 6 of us in the family, it's like it's always like a nice equal amount of people believing in different things.
But you see, me and
you don't know enough, and yet we stand.
I would be very sort of anti-Trump's personality, but I'd be very pro some of his policies.
Of course.
And I think the problem is that, and I would have been guilty of it. So growing up, I didn't know the politics of my parents. I wouldn't have known whether Dad was Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael.
Never conversations with the kids around?
Not much, no.
I think that's a bit of a...
I think that's changing for the better now.
Yeah, do you think that's changing for the better?
Yes,
yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's better to start young, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. And I would have been guilty of not starting young. But it's my only flaw, witchy, as a parent. But so I wouldn't have been aware of the politics, but we would have generally gone for... so the likes of Labour and that would be very pro the low-paid worker. But then you'd hear lots of stories of how workers were holding things back and unions were things back. So I grew up a little bit anti-union, whereas now I think I'm very pro-union.
Yeah.
Because the opposite has happened now. Everyone's working for themselves. No one has long-term contracts. Everything is yellow pack contracts. It's shocking, you know.
So what do you think about the people that work for themselves? Do you think that there should be a union for them?
Oh, there should be a union for everyone, I think. There should be a union for everyone.
Have you tapped into the teachers' union that much?
Yeah, well, you'd be a member of it. And
then whatever they're standing for, you join in, like you're on strike or whatever.
Yeah, a little bit. There is a bit of that. Yeah.
There's once, maybe every 2 years you go on strike for something or something.
Yeah, probably once every 3 or 4 years you take a day out. But you always don't strike enough for it to matter. You don't...
Yeah, you're not playing the card too much.
No, we're not, because we're a very conservative population, first of all, in terms of being proper rebels, and very conservative profession in terms of really believing in something, really going for it. Saying, you know, I think.
As a population, do you mean that we don't stand too strong at any point? Like we'll just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You don't like that about us, right?
No, I don't, but I don't like it about myself either, so I'm not just blaming the population.
Yeah, you're the epitome of that.
Woo! Edit.
That's not true, actually. You will...
No, a bit. Yeah.
You'll want to keep the peace, but you're not afraid to speak your mind.
But that's a real interesting, so...
which I think is a healthy place to be, like, you know?
I think you have to have that as well. So,
but Mum is much better at withhold. I mean, you bite a lot more if there's bait there as well.
Yeah, we bite. Yeah. Porrig and Mum don't bite as much.
They're so relaxed, staying out of it.
Yeah, we're better people.
Yeah,
we bite
so quickly. Yeah,
Peter
and
bites.
Then we're like, but we don't know any of the information.
We just say, starting an argument, we know we're right, but we don't know how to say it. We know you're wrong, but you sound better.
Yeah. Because we don't remember any of it. Yeah, but I know what I believe.
Yeah, but I don't know what I fully believe. And I don't think you should know from, I won't say day to day. Maybe, that's a good one now. Because it takes you quite a while to change your beliefs, doesn't it?
But also, don't your beliefs change depending on the needs? Like, it's a bit like economics, isn't it? Based on the needs of the situation. Like, as in, like, you can believe that education should take top priority and then the next month it shouldn't because the generation is different. Do you know? Like,
no, that's a good point, and you need to...
Like, you wouldn't want to stand beside anything for too long because everything else is changing.
Yeah, no, that's true. And
that's what the thing with Trump and with American politics in general, it's not about the best president, it's the best president for now, isn't it? It's the person who's going to solve the worst problem the fastest, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, as in the problem of the society, you want the president with the strength.
And I suppose the problem is he's so childish that by trying to solve the present problem, and you might agree in his policy, he's also creating division in the middle of it, and that's not helpful. So what you need is, so one of my favourite politicians is Bertie Ahern. Now, you can't really say that in Ireland now because he was up in court and tribunals for being dodgy with money. But in my opinion, he wasn't dodgy with money because he has absolutely none of the trappings of wealth. He was just quick with money. So he would take money, if you gave him 20 grand to do something for you, he would then use that 20 grand to get other stuff done, right? So he got caught doing that and had to pretend it was...
You'd be a bit like that, wouldn't you?
Edit, right? So he got caught doing that and had to pretend he won it on horses.
What?
But he wouldn't know me, but I met him. I was doing a small bit of paperwork around 6 months ago in the Skyline Hotel in Drumcondra.
When was this? How long ago was this now? Like after?
The Moriarty Tribunals, Bertie Ahern Tribunal. You want to get a date for that? Please, Rob. So look, I won my Sterling back in horses. You see that there?
Yeah.
So my opinion on Bertie Ahern.
I'd say the media were like, oh, the headlines we can get out of this. So that'll be an exciting time to make headlines.
That's why I would think the president, Fianna Fáil leader, Micheál Martin, is very weak that he didn't stand up for Bertie Ahern. Even though Bertie Ahern had, I would say, was in the top 3 or 4 people who brought the North together.
Yeah.
So George.
That was the thing I went to see.
Yeah.
The Belfast Agreement.
So George, what's the name of the fellow who helped Bertie Ahern do the thing? George Mitchell. So George Mitchell.
Yeah.
Bertie Ahern, John Hume, Lord of mercy on him, Jerry Adams, the other Sinn Féin IRA lad, Tony Blair. I think they were the biggest movers in getting the North to stop. Now, what an achievement. And if I was in the Irish government now, I would get Bertie Ahern a flat in Gaza or in Israel and pay his wages for a year and say, do your magic. To me, he was an amazing man because he wasn't that principled. He was a peacemaker. That's what made me think of him.
Yeah.
So he was bringing both sides together. So his problem was he was never that principled. He was pragmatic, right? And because of that then, he was always trying to get things done, right? So that meant he was in government with Charlie Haughey, who was a crook, in my opinion. But Bertie could still live with that because he wanted to get stuff done. And then he became leader. And then that was his downfall up there on the screen.
But I think if you get too hung up on the righteousness of individuals in politics, then you're going to just be fighting nonstop, right? It's like, what can you do with the person? Like, you know what I mean? It's playing the people. Like, you know, these are the people you're dealt. Like, if you don't like them, sure, you have to work with them. You have to just do it.
And who's perfect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and so he was good.
I felt he was brilliant. But then everyone's brilliant, aren't they? If you give them a chance.
No.
No.
Not at every single thing.
Not at everything. No.
No. Like
he was brilliant in negotiations.
But me and you have a difference of opinions in this. Like, I would argue the case for destiny.
Go on.
Like, I think, I could cry thinking about it, but I think that we are made with particular sets of skills. And I think we find certain pockets of the world where our skills will benefit the most, will benefit others. And, you know, So
I agree with you on the first bit, but I don't see how the second bit would happen for everyone.
No, it doesn't just happen. You'd have to make it happen. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like anyone to think that they're better able or worse able. Like you said, everyone is great. But if you're in something that's wrong for you, then you're not going to be great.
Yes.
And so everyone's picking the wrong jobs or picking the wrong careers or picking the wrong people.
I agree. And I think we can never... I think that's probably the good crack of being human, is we're always trying to solve these problems. Whereas dogs are happy to, you know, eat and sleep. And do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Whereas
we're always trying to solve the next problems. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is if someone's doing really well, we should presume they want to go to the next level in their organisation.
Yeah.
And if someone is brilliant at cleaning the streets, or someone's brilliant at being a doctor, or someone's brilliant, you always presume there's something else for them to do, but quite often there's not. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, like, because you don't know, like, some people want a job because they prefer the hobby that they're doing, or they have kids and they would rather just be with their kids.
Yeah.
And so they only want the job for the 3 days. And like, so there's lots of different amalgamations of lifestyle that suit for different people.
Yes.
Like, if you just want to live and not have kids and just be by yourself, why wouldn't you get a job where you just don't have to think that much and be relaxed? Like, Ben is a greenskeeper and he just goes out and looks after the grass and all. I'm like, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Just going around and just taking care. I'm like,
Golf Club?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's just so...
Yo, Ben, if you see this, Ben.
He's not watching anything, I don't know. Fishing, unless we start talking about fishing, then Ben will clue in.
Yeah.
But it is, it's real wholesome, and like you can just see the quality of life there as something different. Whereas for me, I need to be busy, I think. Do you know, that's what I'm saying? Like, I have a particular... So that's why waitressing suited me so well. The bookshop suited me so well. Do you know, fast food, so all those kind of really fast-paced jobs kept me satisfied mentally.
Wow.
Whereas if I was in a job having to sit and relax, like fishing, I'd go mad. Did you go fishing?
No, I couldn't. No,
right?
No. But I would I actually find when I go, I love water. But I can sit by the water for 2 or 3 minutes and then I need to do something. I know the water's there. Do you know what I'm saying? Robbie, you have to help me.
You just want to work beside the water.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes.
If you be 100% honest with me, what's the longest time?
Can I just stop? There, God, yeah.
What's the longest time you've gone without working? Like, honestly.
Do you talk about the last few years or?
Ever. Like, even just mentally thinking about something you have to do in work is considered working.
But I can't answer that, but.
Do you think you're ever off? Like.
Very rarely.
I think you've given me that, whatever that sickness is.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
But you have to go and enjoy it.
Oh, no, I do love it.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Do you know what it does as well?
What?
Do you know what it's amazing as well? So if you enjoy planning your next podcast, right, and you enjoy planning your next written work or your next production, or you're really looking forward to some aspect of, so what's your next project that you'd really like to get your teeth into? What is it?
We're shooting a scene. We're shooting a scene soon. I've written it's a 2-minute scene. Me and Rob is going to help me, and then I have a girl, Gemma, coming to be in it.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to direct now.
Okay.
So
you imagine that, and you're doing that soon, right? And you've mad ideas running around your head, and then some night you say, "Okay, I'm going out with all the girls." You nearly don't want to drink, or you nearly don't want to eat unhealthy for too long. So you might have one crap meal, but you won't want to do it for 2 days in a row. Or you might have one thing where you binge on television until 3 a.m. and then regret it the next day. But if you really focus on, and I'm talking to myself here as much as you, if you really focus on and allow yourself work, then you're better, I think, for yourself and for everyone around you, I think.
It keeps you disciplined.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like an excuse, but I'll take it. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've worked on it for a long time. I respect it.
Yeah, but you know.
But at what point, because I worry, I'm going to be completely honest now, is that I worry that it does take precedent over family.
I think that's where you. Yeah, that is a fair worry.
And for me, even I can feel it in myself now.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel I'm more fulfilled on the days I work sometimes than the days with Ava. Now, when I put the same, when I have spending time with Ava is the best thing in the world, you know, like when I'm with family or whatever.
You allow yourself that, but don't beat yourself up on that one, because imagine the crack Ava will get and the pride she'll get from watching a little scene you do and the inspiration she'll get. That doesn't mean she'll want to go to film production or podcast production or writing, but imagine the little work ethic and the contacts and the buzz she sees you getting from all of that. Because you can't tell, like they feel that buzz. So
you think she'll learn more from osmosis? Like you think she's going to learn how to live through watching me live? But that's why I want to even be more careful with it, because the balance is so important.
Yeah,
right?
The balance is important. But I remember watching, and you see a lot of people stopping sport in their late 20s because they're in a relationship or something. And I find myself saying to young teachers now, keep playing. And I found myself saying last week, are your children old enough now to go to your training sessions or your matches? Because they're just there playing, but they're with you. But they're with lots of other children in a really, really healthy atmosphere.
I don't know. I think you're wrong, Dad.
Go on.
I think you need one-on-one time with your parent. I do. I'm sorry to tell you.
No, I think you're right.
And I think you need valuable time, and I think you need to know your parent, and not from a distance. Like I think you need to be the person that gives your parent that same amount of joy and whatever.
Pádraig Harrington, the golfer, would agree with you. He said because he would have brought his sons playing golf, and his father would have brought him playing golf.
Yeah.
And he said, take the time out at the end of that to go buy them a glass of Coke and sit down and ask them about stuff.
And ask them about stuff.
Yes.
You have to learn about them just as much, no matter what age.
Yes, I agree with you.
So that's where I think, your generation and the generation above you 100%, because there's like 8 kids in all the Catholic families, you know? Yeah. But I definitely think you wouldn't know your parents, really.
Yes, and I think I was I never, I was very lucky with my own personality, I think. Right. So lucky. No, I mean I don't mean in terms.
No, I know what you mean. You were easily entertained and you were having fun.
Yeah, and I never felt that. So my dad would have been exceptionally busy, right, all the time, and then always probably a bit like myself. If he wasn't gone, his mind might have been gone, right, and it never bothered me. And even in looking back, it doesn't bother me, right. But I'd say some members of my family, they might have liked more. So I was lucky with that. And as a result, then I probably didn't learn the lesson of that I should. Do you know? Because even in little things like when I was in my, say, between the age of 15 and 30, it would have been my mother saying, there's an ad in the paper for that teaching job. All those little 1,000 little things, right? That Dad didn't do, but Dad did other stuff, do you know? But no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
And do you think you were most like him personality-wise, or do you think you most wanted to be like him personality-wise?
No, I don't think, because even now, it's a funny thing, when I visit his grave, right, I started off by saying, okay, what would Dad do in this situation? You know, or can I do one thing that would, and then I stopped saying that, because that's not fair on me. You have to do what you're true to yourself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to be, I still...
But he was like your hero in your head?
Not quite. I don't know about a hero, because right now my heroes are my children. Right down, seriously. So, it's not... he probably would have been a hero of mine without me realising he was a hero of mine, right? Yeah. And definitely between the age of 12 and sort of, I'd say 8 and 15, I probably wanted to do everything. So I was going around selling Catholic papers. Anything Dad wanted me to do, I did, right? Breed was a rebel, right? So Breed wasn't in the Legion of Mary, I was. Edel was a bit of a rebel, but all the rest of us, you know, joined the Legion and did all the things Dad wanted us to do. Did the porridge in the morning. I feel like, Rob, I'm being rude to you, right? But we took turns making porridge in the morning. So, and then...
Making porridge for everyone?
Yeah.
It's like Theo Von has a joke where he says the people in England and Ireland just eat like they're at war. Isn't that so funny? He's like, it's all war food over there. He's like, everything is like what you'd be given if you were away at war at like camp.
That is so funny. We still haven't learned how to enjoy food.
He said properly. It to Louis Theroux, and Louis Theroux was laughing because he was like, it actually is kind of like
that
war
is so
meals,
funny.
Isn't it? And just you saying we all had to make the porridge, and I'm like, it's just to mass make porridge. Like,
yeah.
Whereas now it's like we poached eggs and avocado and all.
Yeah, I know, it's so true. And I think that's, Irish people, and Peter would be like me in this, food is very functional.
Yeah, you use it as fuel.
Yeah. Whereas you, Colin, porrick, you know, you taste and you think about...
Mam's a bit of both.
Mom would taste, definitely.
Mom likes taste.
Oh, definitely likes taste, yeah. So
but you and Peter will just eat.
We just eat, yeah.
But so go on anyway, you just make the porridge in the morning.
So we make the porridge in the morning. So, but all the time you'd be conscious you're pleasing Dad, you know.
But that's where I would say, like, the therapy now, all the therapy I've done, they would argue that kind of consistent needing to please somebody almost leaves the parent at an unreachable point. You know, it's like the more you know someone, the less you feel the need to please them, the more unconditionally loved almost. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said there. I wouldn't be able to repeat it because a lot of big words, but yes. But
you know what I'm saying? Like you're kind of working towards somebody else's appetite.
Yeah, and that's why I think a child sleeps at 7 or 8 at night, 7 or 8 hours, they don't cry much during the day. You know, we grew up thinking that was a good child. But it wasn't. It was just a child who slept well and didn't cry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah, now it's completely different. Now they're saying like tantrums are good. It means you've created a space where it's safe enough for them to emote.
Yes, but that's all bollocks as well. And I'm going to use it. I promise I'd use it one. They're gone now mad the other way where everything
The pendulum has to swing.
But does it really?
Yeah, the pendulum has to swing.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Can the pendulum not stop in the middle where it should? Why does it have to go? So you had the Catholic Church.
Because everyone has to learn the lesson, right?
Yeah, that's why probably. Yeah, but now there's so much nonsense being peddled, and that's probably your generation, and my generation peddled a different kind of nonsense. So hopefully the next generation.
Yeah, your generation were real career focused. Like you kind of just get very practical. Like go out and get a job.
But it was also the job spectrum was teaching, banks. It was all
nursing,
guards. Yeah.
Civil service.
I just keep repeating you. This podcast, this will be the easiest podcast ever.
Yeah. You know, like a tradesman.
Yeah. But it was even so. Then there were the steady jobs and the college courses. Now you have,
podcasters.
And that's good. But you always had podcasters.
With radio, but it was, there's a freedom of entry, it's what they call it in economics, right? Freedom of entry where anyone can enter into a market space now.
Yeah.
That we never would have had before. So, but like you had to work to be in the radio. So you would have had to intern at the radio. You couldn't just have a platform.
No, you couldn't, but you could be in the pub talking to 20 people. No one stopped you from doing that.
Yeah.
You could be in Hyde Park Corner in London giving speeches. They do create things now where there's lots of new phrases and that, and not human nature doesn't change that much.
Yeah.
They'll put AI on a pedestal now for a while, and AI is amazing. No question.
What do you think?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But human nature will still be human nature.
I think so too.
And AI.
And also, we're always going to have smarter humans, and so we're going to beat the AI. Like, as in, if they're making computers, we can make smarter humans faster. Like, someone is just going to give birth to another Elon Musk, and then he just beats everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like a human. We're going to grow as.
But we're also quite. There's a good portion of humanity that are sheep, and the rest of them just follow them. That was good. You can use that joke if you want to, right? But we're all, whether it's the church or, I don't like using the word wokeism because there's part of wokeism that's good, and wokeism is also almost an insult. But you know what I'm saying, right? So there's the church, and now we've wokeism, and you'll have something else that follow. And you've probably 8 or 10 massive religions around the world, and then you've capitalism, and we all jump into one thing, and we can't say, well, capitalism's good, but you need these 6 things of communism that are good as well. And communism is brilliant, but there's 4 areas that are really damaging. It's like you have to be one or the other.
I think there's too people are having too many opinions, and they're not just making sure they have a healthy breakfast. Like, I think if you're trying to have an opinion on all the things now, if anything, it's like the overload of information has shown me that it's way better to know nearly nothing and to just focus on your own self, your own life, your own family, and your own job.
But that's what I think separates us from animals. I think, unfortunately, we're wired to always be helping. And now, by the way, it might be only in the last few 100 years, because back then you just probably lived and survived, and you hunted.
Just helped your communities.
Yeah, but I think you're all the time trying to, do we need a road here? Do we need a bridge here? Do we need a church here? How can we build it better?
Yeah, but it's someone's job to do those things. Like, the person, focus on your own job. Like,
yes, but that person still had opinions about. That person still had opinions about everything else that was going on in the village or the town or the country.
That's a lot to be thinking about, isn't it?
I don't know. I think we're wired that way. So if you go back and you read, what's the name of the lad who wrote about big cathedrals? Rob, Google that for me there. They're mighty, mighty epic books. Katrina would just laugh at me here. Building Big Cathedrals. Novelist. Author on cathedrals. Now, it is fiction, right? Historical fiction, definitely. And they're mighty books. And they're the first chemists are in the books.
Would you recognise the name? No.
No, the cathedrals of the Middle Ages. No, it's more. Oh, that's a singleton. But basically, I mightn't have helped you much there. Historical novels, and maybe leave out the word cathedral. But I suppose what I'm saying is, I read those a few years ago, and they're mighty books, right? And the original chemists would be in them and be trying all the herbs, right? So if you're in that village or town, then you have an opinion on the chemist, and you have an opinion on the tradesman who's building the cathedral, and you have an opinion on the war thing because you're going to be attacked in the next 10 days. So you still have all these. I think our minds are
built to hand. No, but there's too much now, Dad. Surely there's too much now.
No, there's probably too much opinions, but you don't really have to go with them. You don't really have to.
But no, there's too much information, isn't there, to process, like to figure out your own opinion nearly.
I don't know.
Like, where do you go for your, like, a reliable news source now? Joe Rogan?
Reliable news source, probably Twitter. Yeah, both sides Twitter. So I would try.
But both sides, and is there discrepancies on both sides?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm a bit blinkered on it because.
That's what I'm saying, blinker. You have to kind of, like, you know the way people are now joining a cause in a country the other side of the world. We don't know if we're necessarily in multiple countries. There's always different causes happening. And then, they might be staying up until 3 or 4 a.m. focused on that cause and feeling like they can make a real difference in it.
I think I'm more curious than anything else. I think, so we follow Israel and Gaza, and I'm curious as to why we don't follow other ones. And
well, the Ukraine one just fell off. Like it just, it's like everyone was like, okay, well now we're not paying attention. But that's been happening for years.
Yeah, but I googled there not so long ago how many conflicts are there in the world considered conflict zones, and it was something like 150 something. And I'm saying, look, if I was in charge of a news organisation, I'd do a little report on those, every Saturday. So every Saturday you have a summary.
God, it's so depressing.
But there might be, but it mightn't even be the conflict. Anything. I'm just talking about the good things or the
just report on those places, like familiarise people with those places.
Yeah. So go on, make me right, Rob. Make me right, please. Many conflicts around the
150.
world. Is it? At least 150. So I was right.
Our world and data.
Yeah. So, but my point is, you could do the exact same on inventions. You could do the exact same on charities. You could do all the good stuff as well. Mm-hmm. I just we're not getting, but it's our own fault, we're not getting a broad spectrum. We're getting what they're pushing on us, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think everyone is staying slightly distracted by the things that might not necessarily. Do you think that there's enough focus on the individual, like in general nowadays? Do you know? I think we're constantly being pulled in lots and lots of different directions.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Without actually being encouraged to just figure ourselves out.
I think figure yourselves out, and also have systems to help you figure yourself out physically, mentally, morally, everything.
Mentally, I think the most, to be honest, because I was physically strong and I was mentally weak, and so I was weak.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Really good, yeah.
And so, do you think that there should be counselling in schools?
If you're asking me that question and you think there should be, then I think there should be, because I would look up to you and haven't thought about things more than me. So yes.
Yeah, well, I think about mental health and therapy. I think the most, probably because I just struggled so much for so many years and wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. So I think it, without looking up to you, I think if you think it's a good idea, then I think it's a good idea.
Do you think...
And Bressie, who, Bressie?
Yeah.
So he did a fundraiser. I follow him on LinkedIn. So he did a fundraiser recently for that exact cause.
Yeah.
He canoed to Shannon, climbed Carrantoul, and did something else. And I was half hoping our kids would join him, and it was to get counselling into schools, I think.
Yeah.
Would you Google that, Rob? Bressie, counselling schools. This is giving me so much power up. And we'll spell counselling the right way, yeah?
Whatever way, yeah. Whatever gets it through.
Bressie's video for schools. Lust for Life is his campaign. And so he is trying to...
Yeah, he hasn't got a great website going for him, has he?
How do you know?
Just because it's not coming up there, you should have something.
No, he seems really strong. And was he a singer?
Yes.
So was he a bit of
he was in one of the Irish Top of the Pops. Or
see, they're going around hundreds of schools. So he is trying to get that going.
And would you, what percentage of schools coming out of sixth year in your school would go into college and stay in college? What would be the dropout rate? What? So how many of them know what they want to do going forward? Well,
I think that's more, are you talking about our school in particular, the school where I teach in particular, or all schools?
Your school in particular, I guess.
Our school in particular, I'd say it'd be harder because I think college now is pushed as an option as having more status than going to the world of work, and I don't see any difference.
Yeah.
And it always has been, by the way. It was the same with me, but I benefit from it because it was the best option for me.
Yeah, 100%. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to college.
But I would think you might be a better, more mature teacher, more mature doctor if the system was set up a little bit that you went back in your 20s.
Yeah, Israel do that.
Yeah.
You go back when you're 23, I think it is, and do college then.
Imagine
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. And I didn't know Israel did that. I knew that they...
Remember I went to Nepal and climbed. Yeah. So they were all in their last gap year before college, and they were all 22, 23. And then they go back. Now they do have to do army.
Yeah.
So they all do that community. But they don't get education until they're 23, which I think is...
Makes far more sense.
Yeah, it's wild for an 18-year-old to have to go in and learn all the law stuff. Yeah. It's crazy.
And you're not motivated to learn it because you're at a different stage in your life. You're probably at a socialising stage in your life where you want to be out. So... that doesn't sit with excelling in a profession.
No.
Or
in unsupervised education. I felt like a failure through college.
Yeah, but it's bordering on. Like I started off in first year in college, and it was great. And by the end of college, I was just basically, we had study groups, and you're meant to prepare a topic for a study group. So it was 7 people in a study group. You prepared a topic on, say, teaching pedagogical aspects, the little aspects of teaching. Someone else prepared on the psychology of teaching. And I didn't prepare anything. What I did was, you went in, and Pauline Devlin, Mam's friend, would have done a great piece on the psychology of education. And she'd give us all handouts, and we'd study that for that night in a group setting. And the following night, I'd go to my other group and say, I've prepared something on the psychology of education. And then I'd pick something else up from that group. So I was in 3 or 4 different groups. I just stopped working, stopped studying. And I went into my college exams with my jeans plastered with cogs.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And
plastered with cogs? What does that mean?
How to copy, so it was all initials.
What do you mean?
So let's say if you wrote AC/DC, which would have been a band at the time.
So you wrote them on your jeans?
Yeah.
In pen?
Yeah.
Like jeans like that you wouldn't be able to see in blue pen?
No, in jeans, because back then you wrote on your jeans. Jeans were covered with graffiti. But now my graffiti stood for something. But basically it stopped studying and stopped caring and stopped... and I would say in our year group, they were better than me. There was probably 60% of them strong studiers. But then Mam wasn't a strong studier, but she probably became one of the best PE teachers from that group. So 50 graduate every year. And she would have been the top 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, well,
in terms of delivery of physical education.
Yeah, especially with PE teaching. You don't need to... law needs you to study.
But does it really?
Yeah.
Does law not need you to do... You see, I wonder now, has it not changed now? Is the study not at a fingertip? Can they not cut that course down to around 3 or 4 years? And the same with doctors. 3 or 4 years. And not have them going from college to October to May for 6 months. Have them going to college for 9 or 10 months. Cut back the research and development in colleges, or make it specific departments.
But what if they don't know what they want to specialise in? Because the way they go, I think
I'm saying
right now the concept in general.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can understand that, but I just feel that most of these things now you can actually...
We're not adapting to technology.
No, we're not. I don't think we are.
No,
I don't think we are.
So what would you have liked to go into politics?
It's funny because I think everyone thinks they can write and they can't, right? Everyone thinks they can do a podcast and they can't. Everyone thinks they'd be good in politics and they're not.
I've considered all 3.
But you know what I mean? There are certain things. And I actually think that within reason, it has to be part of you the whole way up along.
Yeah.
So from very early on, from the age of 10, I was organising sports.
Yeah.
So even when, I remember there was 6 of us, there was 4 brothers, no, the 3 brothers, Sean Martin and Tomas Martin. And at the age of 10, I had us in a league system. And it was 2v2, so it meant if 5 was an odd number, so you had to play a different 2v2, and the league table was how you got on against the other 2, and then you changed. So everyone played. And I was organising this, and even in first and second year, I was the organiser. So I'd say I was always becoming a PE teacher without realising it. Yeah. And then I was thinking about journalism, because I was politically minded, but I didn't get into journalism. College of Commerce, Rathmines, I think it was. College of Journalism or Commerce, Rathmines.
Which was a blessing.
Yeah, but I was always...
I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, because I was always politically interested. And
I don't know if you would have enjoyed it as much, though. I really don't, being a journalist. I think it would have infuriated you.
Yeah.
The lack of control you would have had, and the lack... You know what I mean? You would have been constantly muzzled.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know? And then even if you found someone that would have your back, it's so stressful, it seems, in journalism.
Yeah.
It's like it's a real burden.
And it's almost like, now that you say it, each piece should be individualistic. If you're a journalist, it should have your own stamp on it, but it can't.
Yeah.
So there's a whole conflict.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, whole conflict.
Because you have to withhold your opinion.
Yeah. In every piece you're right. Yeah.
And then also there's just your boss can change, and then they've got their own way of editing, and it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, when I was growing up, there were a lot of strong journalists whose opinions I wouldn't agree with. And I remember reading them a lot. Eamon McCann from the North, Vincent Brown, Niall McCafferty. But these were people I didn't agree with, but I read them. Niall McCarthy, I think, Niall, something in the hot press. And I was always curious, like I used to buy a lot of newspapers, particularly...
What age?
From the age, I'd say, of 15 on to 25.
15? You were buying newspapers?
Well, no, I wouldn't. I would have been reading the ones in the house.
Would you?
Yeah. And then if I was up in Dublin, I can remember being up in Dublin for things.
I get so depressed. I get really sad if I read them.
No, I find I get curious. But I'm not sure if that's me looking back with rose-tinted glasses. But I remember buying the IRA newspaper on Public, and I wouldn't be in favour of what the IRA were doing. I remember still buying the Irish Catholic even after I stopped believing to see what they were about.
Yeah.
And buying Hot Press, and that was sort of a rock and roll type pop music, type cool London, New York, Dublin magazine. And with very, what might be considered liberal views that I didn't agree with. But I still wanted to find out what was the, So I think I was always reading both sides.
And were you reading fiction at the same time?
Yeah.
Genie. And would you read all that stuff now?
No.
What are you reading now?
So what am I reading now? I would read fiction. I would listen to podcasts. That's probably it. Even the newspapers, I would watch sport on the television. Remember talking to John Green from the Sunday Independent, and he was trying to convince him to stop writing match reports in newspapers. He said, because that's got very boring now, because everyone has already seen the match by the time you've read their match report. They should be going deeper into something else, because the television on your phone has covered a match report.
Yeah. So
for a newspaper to sell, they have to come up with a different angle,
Yeah.
And I don't think they've quite got there with it. And he said that to me 10 years ago. So what do you read now?
I read fiction.
Yeah.
I read scripts.
Yeah.
And I watch, that's it. Then I watch a lot of YouTube.
Okay.
I watch a lot of YouTube interviews with people who I aspire to work like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So it's mainly film stuff and stuff. Like I don't really... I don't know if I don't care. I think I care almost too much to pay attention to what's going on in the
and
world.
I like that. I actually...
I get really sad. Like I get really bummed out. Like
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's something for you.
It affects my day,
Yeah. That's good that you've decided that. And then you shouldn't.
And then people try to tell me. They're like, did you hear?
Yeah.
I'm wanting to hear about the 7-year-old girl. And I'm like, nah.
But not even that.
I'm having a good fucking day. Like, I don't need to know about any child getting murdered right now. I don't need to know. Like, I can't literally do anything today about it.
Yeah.
Like, if I stay in a good mood, then I'm much more likely to succeed in the job I am doing. And then I can get to a position where I can really make a difference. That's my strategy for my lifestyle.
I think it's a good strategy.
I'm like, until I can actually help.
Yeah.
Until I can actually help, then I feel like I have the blinders up because it's too painful.
And I think what you're saying as well resonates with what I've been listening to, because the lad who's trying to save the Amazon jungle is saying, I can't tell you about the Ukrainian war. I don't know enough about it. I can't tell you about the Israeli war. All I can do is help the Amazon jungle.
Yeah.
And that's my bit.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that because I think that's probably what you're trying to say then, is that there's too much.
There's too much.
Yeah, okay.
There's too much. Yeah. And I do think the people who pick a cause and really go for the cause, that's your job, that's your purpose, that's your goal.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. But I think to try and stay up to date on every single person that's suffering in the world, and then kind of decide who needs the most pity at that time. Like, it's a weird, like Aristotle talks about pathos, it's that people almost enjoy to pity. Like, they almost enjoy the feeling of knowing that people are suffering. There's an addiction to suffering.
No question.
And I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't really have that.
But I think that's a need in someone.
Yeah.
I think and I think what happens, all of us, I think, is we're all quite needy. And you need to be doing something that's valued, and I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But if people haven't got something, then whatever they have, they turn into something a bit too mad.
A bit fanatical about it.
Yeah, so they might be on a residents association, or they might, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they might be on a board of management.
Yeah.
Or they might be president.
Which are some of the best people, though.
Or they might be a president of a country. I don't see any difference at all between, and their need to come out in those times, and then they can appear quite pathetic at every level. I think there's a presumption among certain people that politicians and top media people actually are more mature and rounded people. They're not. There's no difference much between them. Yeah.
When I was watching that agreement play about the Belfast Agreement, Bertie Ahern's mother died that week.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that really struck me, and like it was a very emotional. Like I was crying by the end.
Wow.
For empathy for all these politicians that I never had before.
Did you go to that play?
Yes.
With
myself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a pity. Did you get it first?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So this is what we spoke about today. Just to recap: how many conflict zones are there in the world? Historical novels and cathedrals. Author and cathedrals, Bertie Ahern, horse race.
He's going crazy now, Rob. You can see, look.
Experimental.
So, will you look up pathos for me and see if that was a load of bullshit?
Pathos is the way that is. So, I would find it around a funeral in a school.
People who love funerals are hilarious.
Yes, I would feel a love of funerals.
Okay, nice.
What is a simple definition of pathos? Can I have that? Because I don't fully understand. A quality that evokes pity or sadness.
Experience misfortune.
But you're saying it's almost an addiction to it.
Yeah, well, it's like the appeal is pathos. Like people enjoy to feel pity.
Yes.
Like they take pleasure in pitying.
Yes.
And I think so too. When someone gets a little bit gleeful when you've got bad news, there's a strange humanistic
there is, and it's
element to
no question.
People being like, oh God, what?
And I think if something affects you badly, if you're really sad over something, you either won't sleep or you won't eat. And if you can sleep or eat normal enough, then it didn't really affect you that much.
Well, see, I can always eat.
But what I'm saying is,
I can't always sleep.
Yeah, but what I'll say is, if 1 million people are blowing up over in China, where the certain religion are being corralled into one area, or if some area in the middle of Africa are at war tonight and 2,000 people die, we will say that's terrible, but it will not affect us one bit, So I think the sort of addiction and the likeness of suffering is a definite thing. Yeah, it's a thing, yeah.
And what do you think about when you are suffering? Do you think that you should isolate, or do you think that sharing it with a group, like what would be your...
Oh, wow.
Like I tend to isolate if I'm in a bad mood. I don't really like the company of people that much. Now, obviously with Ava, it's a little bit harder because I'm with her. Yeah. And so I try to explain to her if I'm having a rough minute or whatever.
Well, that's good parenting. I think I never did that.
No.
But I was so good in so many other areas.
But what do you think is better, like in a philosophical way? Like what do you think? Do you think that misery needs company? Do you think misery craves company?
What's the phrase about it? It's misery craves company.
Misery needs company, yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you think...
I'd be a loner when it comes to...
Yeah, me too. And I think that there's a lot to be said for it as well. Like because I do think that energy is contagious, and I
think your mum is good like that as well. She'd be trying to say, leave me now for a bit.
Yeah.
I think, but don't want to speak for her, but I would, I think, but it's like I might go down that, I might Google that one now. The different personality. I love the different personality types.
Yeah, young.
Yeah. Yeah, and old. For everyone. No, the young do the Enneagram.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Did Young do the Enneagram? I think he did, yeah.
So I'm really interested in the personality types because I think the more you study, the fairer you are to other people.
What are you? You forget though, right?
Yeah.
You're the forgetful one. I am the challenger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But are you not?
And I got diagnosed as well by one of my lecturers.
As being the
challenger. And then she was like, do you remember what one you are? And then I was like, I think I might be number 8. She was like, yeah, I think you might be a challenger.
Extroverted, introverted, extroverted, introverted. Oh, no, okay. 8 main personalities.
Is this the EFNP ones? No, that's not it.
Adaptive.
There's a different one.
There's 9 in the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, there's Jung's personality types.
The Enneagram is ENNEA.
Yeah, I'd say he's done a few of them.
GRAM, yeah. And so I think it allows you. Yeah, I think it allows you 2 other areas that you're close to.
You're close to as well. Yeah, I love personality quizzes. I think they're so good for self-analysis and then self-regulation.
But not only that, but for your understanding other people.
Oh, they've got to give different names there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not the OG ones.
So I'm sure and I think then you understand people.
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Because someone might be a helper, so you have to let them help you, even though you're a helper as well.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Or you're an independent.
Yeah. And you have to let them help you.
Yeah.
And the clash there is obvious.
Yeah.
So, no, I find that really interesting. I must go back and look at that again.
I know, and then forget it again, and then look at it again in another few years.
Yeah.
Same story of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll call it there, Pop.
Yeah, super, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Super.
Love you.
Yeah, love you.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Rob. You can leave that bit in.
Cut.